the draft amended budget 2024. It is the amended budget to the one that was approved by Parliament for this year. So if we can keep it in this direction and save the more policy items, policy discussions for the or a public meeting. So I see MP York, and I would invite you, MP York, to continue in the trend that I just explained we should maintain for this Central Committee meeting discussion on the amended budget. MP York, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Minister, once again, and good afternoon to the support staff. Madam Chair, I just have two simple questions. The Minister alluded in her explanation about the granting of the tax holiday that is also granted based on economic growth and, for example, people hired by whomever the tax holiday is granted, in this case, for example, a developer. So I would like to ask the Minister, what is the number of expected employees to be hired by this person or persons? And next question, regarding the reflows of the airport, I would like to know what is the plan of government concerning the reflows of the airport moving forward once they restart or recommence? And I think I asked it to another minister, but if the Minister of Finance, through Madam Chair, could provide the answer, when are they slated to start restart the reflows? Thank you.
Thank you, MP York. Minister, I would just like you to just explain me a little further on your answer, which was provided regarding getting like data regarding our taxpayers' base, and the minister indicated that that information would have to be actually gathered by third parties. So if that could be explained. By the way, with the question recorded, I do not mind receiving it as part of the answers before the public meeting on the budget. But just if I could get, and I'm going into in a certain direction, and that is why it is important that I understand what was meant with that kind of information needs to be collected by a third party. Minister, I heard your statement loud and clear regarding the road fund that keeps coming back, not only in here in Parliament, but also in reports by, for example, the General Audit Chamber, etc. And Minister, our law on the vehicle tax refers to the creation of a road fund. Subsequently, delegated legislation was made with respect to the creation of a road fund. And thus my question is, was that delegated legislation for the creation of the road fund, was it actually put into effect? I would like, and again, Minister, as far as I'm concerned, these answers can be given in the report, in the reported answers in writing by the minister or ministers. Minister, I don't see any other member asking anything of the Ministry of Finance at this time. Yes, I do see MP York requesting the floor. MP York, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have more of a question as it pertains to the opinion of the minister. Although I know it doesn't fall directly under the minister's ministry, she does have a vote in COM. The minister has a vote in COM. So for a bit of context, Minister, a couple years ago, about a decade, and again, I think about 5 to 6 years ago, there were various studies done in VSA where it was concluded that Sint Maarten has a gambling addiction issue. A lot of laws are made, amended, repealed, and my question would be to the minister, what is her stance? Her stance, I know it doesn't fall under her ministry. What is the minister's stance, Madam Chair, through you, on a moratorium on lottery boot licenses? And I don't know if the legislation is there yet, but just for example purposes, her opinion on a moratorium on lottery boot branches. So that would just be my question to the minister, not if she would do it or not, but more her opinion on the matter. Yes or no?
Thank you, MP York, for that question. MP Gumbs, I invite you to to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon almost to everyone. To add on to the question of a moratorium on lottery booth licenses and branches, I would add casinos to that mix, because people don't just gamble at lotteries, it's also the casinos. So just to add that question as well. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Gumbs, for that question. MP La Cruz, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Lady. I think if we're really trying to utilize the time, there is already a moratorium on casino licenses and lottery licenses. A license comes with the possibility to open up branches, which a stop was already placed on that a couple of years back. So all lottery booths that have opened in the last year, I remember they got a letter that they needed to be removed, and I don't know if they ever followed up on that, but we're trying not to waste too much of the minister's time and get her to do actually the work that needs to be done. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP La Cruz, and thank you very much for your consideration. And I would just invite the others to share that consideration as well. So with that, I continue, and I give the floor to MP Roseburg.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary General, Minister, and support staff. Blessed morning still, and a blessed morning to my colleagues and the people of Sint Maarten viewing online. I just have one question, and specifically in regards to those lottery casino holders that cannot open. I don't know if it was asked already, but just for clarity's sake, that cannot open a bank account, but need to be able to also bring funds into the coffers of Sint Maarten. What is the short-term solution to tackle that matter? And also seeing that how it looks now, the Caribbean Gilder will be coming to Sint Maarten, to make that transfer from the Antillean Gilders to the Caribbean Gilders. What will be in place for those lottery and casino holders that cannot open a bank account at this moment? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Roseburg. Members of Parliament, or actually to the Minister, you have heard the additional questions by members of Parliament. As I mentioned earlier, for me, and I assume for other MPs as well, if these answers are to be received in writing way ahead of the public meeting, for me, I would suffice. And if the members of Parliament don't have, if the other members of Parliament don't have an issue with that, then we can close off the session with the Minister of Finance right now and continue with the other ministers to be followed. So, Minister, we have recorded, and I'm sure your support staff has as well, the questions, additional questions as posed. And it will be recorded that these will be received ahead of the public meeting in writing from the respective ministers. And with that, if that can be the understanding, then we can close off your part here as we continue with the other ministers. Can the Central Committee agree with that approach? I hear no objections to that, Minister, so that is the way we shall proceed. I want to thank you and your support staff, and I will adjourn the Central Committee meeting for 2 minutes as we continue with the other ministers. I can inform the members of Parliament especially that next up would be the Prime Minister, and then following the Prime Minister, the Minister of VSA. at approximately 1 o'clock, we will be breaking for lunch, just to give you an idea as to how we will continue with the Central Committee meeting. But for now, I will adjourn for 2 minutes and allow the Minister of Finance and her support staff to leave this meeting. Meeting adjourned.